right, so welcome back to another episode with Motion and Success. Definitely, this is going to be a great episode today. So we're going to be talking to Aaliyah, with me, my co-host Ayo. Definitely, as you guys know, the Gen Z.
It's a podcast for Gen Z and millennials, but I mean, it's for everybody. You know, we all could learn something, especially with the special guest that we're bringing on. So today we got
Aaliyah. So I guess
right.
it's time to introduce myself.
Yeah. So Aaliyah, just introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are. Tell them what you do and how they could, learn a little bit from you today.
All right, so what's up, y'all? Whenever y'all see this, I am Aaliyah Dua. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I just recently graduated from college. I went to Virginia State University. I have a degree in business management, and I am the founder and CEO of Financial Revolution, which is a platform and business that I created while I was in college to teach financial literacy and entrepreneurship. And I mainly focus on ages 8 to 25. I do work with adults as well because, adults need the game too.
Is it harder to work with adults?
That's a good question. I don't think necessarily that it's harder. I think, adults spend the money.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
They
true.
want
They
the
got the
information.
bread.
They spend
Yeah.
the money. But sometimes I feel like they may not act on it as soon enough because they're so caught up in like the everyday things that they have
That's
to
true.
do
Right.
and the responsibilities that they have that sometimes it's hard for them to actually implement the game that I give them, So it's just really working on changing their mindset on like, okay, they've been doing something for maybe 10 years straight, but how to get them out of that cycle to make them want to do something differently versus working with a younger audience. We're just so inspired and happy to get into so many things that is like, oh, all right, if this works, let me try this. You know what I'm saying? Like when we're younger, we're more inclined to try things because if we mess up, it's like, all right, I'm young, I can still keep going,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that's what's up, though. I heard you say like you're from Brooklyn, so
Facts.
you got Biggie behind you, and you
Biggie
got
and
Jay.
Jay-Z, facts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, but growing up in Brooklyn, like we don't got a lot of entrepreneurs out here. So like, how'd you get into wanting to get that financial literacy and wanting to kind of be an entrepreneur? Like, how'd you jump into that?
Well, actually, so both of my parents are entrepreneurs. So I kind of grew up around entrepreneurship. So my mom, she's an esthetician doing like facials and massages. So she owns her own like spot and like shop and stuff like that. So I grew up in there like seeing like, okay, this is how business work. I always seen her hustle, making money for herself. And then my father, he also is an entrepreneur as well. He does real estate. He also has his own store and shop where he sells men's suits and also women's clothing as well. So it's just like growing up seeing both of my parents wake up every day and make something happen for themselves. And also just like, for example, like my mom, I used to be at flea markets with her, like making her labels, selling her products, different things like that. So me having to actually help out within the business, I was learning stuff without even knowing that. Like I was learning stuff. So now when it was time for me to like do things on my own, I kind of already knew. Because I'm like, I did this before. Like something as simple as when I was doing my podcast pitch for Revolt, they said that I could give gifts to the judges. So I'm like, what can I give the judges real quick? I'm like, water bottles. I could just get a water bottle, take the label off, print my own labels. Right. I knew how to do that because I was making my mom's labels. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, think about if I was someone who didn't grow up in a household and didn't know, 9 times out of 10, I probably would have figured out, but it wouldn't have been that easy. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why I think like, parents being entrepreneurs is also great because it inspires your children. It inspires that next generation because now you just broke a generational curse. You know what I'm saying? Like, because now you have a business. So you broke that line of employee. You know what I'm saying? Which is nothing wrong with that. Right. But we do need more black businesses too. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. So like when you gave them those water bottles, did it like did anybody else do that? Did anybody else give them anything?
So it was one. So I would say that they did tell us like very late in the game that they could give us gifts, give them gifts. But one other person, I think they gave him maybe like keychains or like bracelets or something, like arm bracelets. But I gave them like a whole goodie bag. So it had like, and I'll give y'all a video because y'all could put it on the thing, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But it literally was like goodie bags where it was like a gift bag. Yeah. It had my sticker on it with the Young and Dumb show and like my face and a QR code. And then inside of it was candy. I had the water bottles, and I also put my book, and I also put like a card in there too as well. So it was like I gave them a whole little package, just something that made me like stand out. You feel me? Like I think like whenever you're doing something, you have to do it to make yourself say like, okay, what can I do that's going to separate me from everybody else? So automatically that was like oh wow, you gave us, like he literally said, oh, you gave us gifts, candy. This is my favorite thing. You won.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like,
that's true.
You know what I'm
that
saying?
definitely does sound true.
Now that's what's up. So you had a head start into like entrepreneurship, being that both of your parents were entrepreneurs, and that's kind of crazy because it's like you kind of got two mentors right there. You know what I'm saying? Because
direct mentors.
A lot of times, like even jumping into entrepreneurship, like a lot of people got to start from that mindset, like you said, breaking that generational curse. Like you got to go through a whole bunch of stuff, but you kind of came in, jumping, seeing both of your parents get to work, working by themselves. So that's crazy. That right there, that's what's up. That's what's up.
So like, quick question. So like, when you decided to become an entrepreneur, were you like, was it forced? Like, was your parents like happy? Like, all right, cool. Like, Aaliyah, you in college, yes, but you know, at the end of the day, we know people go to college to go to get a job. Like, were they excited? Were they for it?
Yeah, I feel like one thing I would give my parents, and like I generally feel like I probably never said this to them, but I generally feel like I have a great set of parents. Like I would generally say that a great, like we all have problems like with our parents that get us tight and things like that because they just parents. But like I would generally say that like I have a great set of parents. Like my parents support me through any and everything that I do. If I tell them tomorrow I want to become a pilot, I'll tell them tomorrow that I want to go to space. I tell them tomorrow I want to drive trucks. Like whatever it is, they're going to support me, right? Yeah. But I also feel like too, the important thing is also like they never limited me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like and even when I felt any type of limitation coming on, I literally told my dad when I was 16, he would tell you verbatim. I was like, don't put no limitations on me. You know what I'm saying? Because dope. I feel like when you give your child the freedom to breathe, to think, to do, to try, to test, right? They're going to learn. Like I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn what works for me. I'm going to learn what I like to do, what I don't like to do. I grew up playing sports, so I played basketball. My parents supported me through that. Before I was playing basketball, I was in a marching band. I played the trumpet. My parents supported me through that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like even when I was in high school, I used to buy Supreme headbands for really, really cheap when they came out. And then I would resell them on like, on like, what's those platforms like Go and Go, like, you know, all those,
StockX,
like all those different platforms. You know what I'm saying? They would support me through that. I wasn't even old enough to make an account, but my dad letting me use his name to make an account. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like, even when I wanted to do Forex, right? I wasn't old enough to have an account, but my dad let me make an account under his name. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, they always supported me with whatever that I wanted to do. So it's just like, I would say with this business, I was the most consistent, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, as I'm supporting myself, they was 10 toes behind me, you know what I'm saying? Right. I told them I want to get a book, supporting me with the book. I told them I want to have a book signing, supporting me with the book signing. That's so fire. I think, like, you know, for parents, like, it's super, super important to, like, really support your child, even if you don't see the value in what they're doing, even if like it may not make sense, even if like if you tried it doesn't work, like the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work out.
Exactly.
But they don't die. Yeah. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Like life goes on. That worst thing that can happen is that it just doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? So let us try, let us fail, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's how success happens. Like I tried so many different things before I found like financial revolution, you know?
Mm-hmm. And people don't really hear about those kind of things too. Like they don't really like, you know, like, yo, they hear about it, but it's like, all right, cool. They try one thing and it didn't work. Oh, hell breaks loose. They not doing anything. They put everything up. They done. You know what I mean? So that's good that you actually, you know, doing more things outside of, you know, the Forex or the other things that you tried in the past and still rocking out now.
But I mean, but what I would say too, though, like I feel like on another end, just to defend parents, I would say as a child though, whatever I did, I always was like 10 toes behind it as well. Mm-hmm. Like I put all my energy and effort, and also like from young, I always wanted to find a way to make money. So whether that was like working for my mom, or that was like working at like a restaurant, my family restaurant, or like interning at a law office, whatever it was, I still was like, okay, I want to find a way to be independent and like sustain myself. You know what I'm saying? Just so that like, you know, if I wanted sneakers, I can buy my own sneakers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I wanted stuff, I could get it. So it was just like, I also came with a a certain level of mindset of where I'm gonna get it done. I didn't just like say I was gonna do stuff and didn't do it, because I think sometimes that becomes the problems parents have with their children. They'll see their child say they want to do anything, but then we never do it. You know,
Right,
so
that's true.
So I get it, but you gotta support your kids though.
That's true.
Because sometimes when the people in your house don't support you, how you gonna think the world never gonna support you? You know what I'm saying? So like,
I remember while you saying this story, I'm just remembering in my head when probably about a year or two ago, I was arguing with my parents because I stopped doing what I wanted to do, which was an intern. I wanted to become a cop, and they was like, "Oh nah, like Cody." Like,
wow.
you need to do this. I'm like, let me mess up. I'm like, let me mess up. Oh, I'm so young. Like, yeah, I know y'all want to protect me, but just let me mess up.
Yeah.
Like, let me do it. But you know, everything is gonna make sense at the end.
That's the thing. They want you to play it safe.
Play
Like
it safe.
it's
And
not like they want to hurt you,
it's
but it's like they want you to play it
it's,
safe.
it's understandable, and it's understandable.
It's all understandable.
When you really think about it, though, like our parents are older than us, right? So they done been through some things, seen some things, and they know how the world can operate.
Exactly.
So what they're doing is like projecting what they had going on or whatever they seen or whatever they experienced to make sure that they can protect you from that.
Yeah.
But it's just like like trying to protect me too much could also be harming me as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I don't know, I get it, but sometimes you just gotta step out on a leap of faith, because what if it does work out?
Right.
You know?
So you mentioned your brand, Financial Revolution. Like, how'd you come up with that, and like what kind of impact are you trying to make? Like, I see you in the schools, I see you at, the conferences. Like what impact do you plan on making with your brand?
So honestly, I came up with Financial Revolution like on the couch one day. I was reading something, and I think it was by John Hope Bryant. He does financial literacy as well. John Hope Bryant. Like, look him up when y'all get a chance, right? Mm-hmm. He's the CEO of Operation Hope, right? And in his book, he has said we were so focused on civil rights, which is CIVIL, civil, right? Mm-hmm. So like that's legislation, different things like that. Rights with like segregation, all those different things. But we weren't focused on silver rights, which is our rights with money, right? So making sure that we get equity economically, making sure that we get equal pay, making sure that we get, like, you know what I'm saying, we treat it fairly when it comes to that money, right? Because it's like, I was watching something and they basically was like, let's say during segregation times, things were separated. But as soon as like, all right, I could go eat at a diner with a white person, but I can't afford to eat there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we was focused on like the getting the equality, but we also needed economic rights. You know what I'm saying? So once I heard that, I'm like, like, okay. I'm reading now, I'm like, all right. And I'm seeing all these different revolutions that happen in history, but I'm like, yo, there's never been a revolution with the black dollar. Yeah. There's never been a revolution with like our finances. There's never been it seems like we're always like at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are we closing this wealth gap? So that's when I put financial and then revolution together, and I was like, I want to start a financial revolution. And it really started with like, every day I used to post like these things. I used to call it Aaliyah Financial Mornings. Like, if you literally go on my Instagram page and you click on my stories, you can literally see it. That's how I started. And I used to just go on like text art and draft up these long like text messages and make it like real cool, put a song behind it, and just explain different things when it came to financial literacy. But then I was like, nah, I really gotta start a page. And at first, I'm not even cap. Like, I was shy, I was scared, because like people knew me one way, and like the Leah y'all see right now is way different from the Leah from before. So people saw me one way, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like, are they gonna really be receptive to who I'm trying to become? Right. And then I was like, one day I woke up, I said, I just gotta do it. Right.
Nah, I just gotta do it. I feel that too, because it's like, the community growing up in Brooklyn, like, you talk about stocks, they gonna look at you crazy.
Exactly.
Like, you talking about stocks.
They gonna laugh too.
Yeah, they gonna laugh. They gonna kind of like clown you in a way. But then when I realized, it's like, when you get older, then everybody trying to run. Now they realize that 9 to 5 is not the way. Now they trying to learn stocks. Now they trying to, but if you on it earlier, when everybody's kind of clowning you for it, like I feel like that's the best time. That's the best
And
time.
I don't think, to be honest, like once you consistent, your mind is made up. Most time they start respecting.
They
you.
start
Exactly.
respecting you, bro.
They start. Oh, yo, I see you doing your thing.
Yeah, facts.
Like I see
but
you
at
doing
first
your
it was
thing.
a joke. Like at first it was a joke.
Yeah, that's why sometimes you gotta break through and just post that content, post that first video.
I see you with what's his name. I see you what's her name.
Yeah, and at first, like I wasn't even confident for real. Like I wasn't confident in myself. Like I wasn't confident in like the way I spoke or like whatever. I felt like, all right, what are you doing about this? Like you know what I'm saying? Like I had all these negative thoughts in my head, and then I said, you know what? Let me just start posting. So at first I was just posting like just text, like, or just facts or whatever. But then I realized, okay, like, all right, these are people on social media, they doing this. Like that's when like I feel like during the pandemic that whole influencer thing started popping off and stuff. So I'm like, I gotta show my face. Like my friend was like, Leah, you gotta show your face. You gotta show your face. And I made my first video. I felt like it was like a debut album or something. Made my first video showing my face, and that video made sense. Like if people were sharing and stuff like that, I'm like, all right, that wasn't that bad, right?
Yeah.
So I just kept going from then, and then I developed more confidence. And then, like you said, when you are really consistent with things and you making stuff happen, people start to respect you.
Yeah.
So now it's like people just coming to me for information. Now it's like people like in my DMs, like, yo, I learned this, I learned that, like random people, like, yo, I've been seeing what you're doing. Like, you're dead helping me. Like, your information. Like, I'm at homecoming this past weekend. Somebody just stopped me. Like, oh my gosh, I follow your page. I love you so much. Like, I'm such a fan. And it's just like that is constant affirmation that keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing, because I'm helping, I'm inspiring, I'm impacting people, and I feel like I'm relatable. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
That's how I found Aaliyah, to be honest. Like off her Instagram, you know, I'm like, oh shit, she's from Brooklyn. Like she's talking her stuff, you know, connecting with the right people. I'm like, oh, that's dope.
Facts.
And mind you, that was probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah,
when was that event?
Yeah, that was like a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't the Juneteenth.
No, it was the Juneteenth.
So that's
that.
2 years ago. Yep. You know what I mean? And she's consistently still posting till now, and now it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yep. So I'm like, shit, you know. Yep. That just shows, like, you know, people are watching, people are definitely tapping in.
Facts.
People are looking at your page, and they come in to see information. And the thing is, some people might not even be liking, but they watching.
Yo,
you know.
I always tell a story of how during Black History Month, every year I do these like series where every day I post like different Black people who were important in finance or in entrepreneurship or whatever. And one year I was doing it, I wasn't really getting like the likes and the shares that I wanted. So maybe like it was probably like maybe like a week left in Black History Month. I stopped posting because I'm like. Like nobody's happening. Like like it takes time to edit videos. Like you know what I'm saying. Like, and this is before AI, so I'm over here cutting it, and, like you know what I'm saying. So I'm tight. So I'm like, I'm not doing it no more. And then one day somebody texted me like, Aaliyah, what happened to your videos? Why you stop posting it? Like I was using them every day to start my classroom, every single day to show the kids like that was like they do now. And I'm like, yo, that's mad crazy. Like I didn't even see, like you know what I'm saying. Like, I didn't even see that my video was having that impact of maybe, like, a classroom of 30 kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I done stopped. So it's like sometimes you may be working and you don't see the results or the fruits of your labor yet. But that doesn't mean to quit, right? That actually should make you say, like, all right, let me keep doing it. Let me keep being consistent. Because once you quit, you can never get the results that you want. So that right there was just a learning lesson of, like, I can't give up.
Right.
You got to show up for yourself. You can't give up. So
and that one person, she probably had a class of 30, like 2 different class, 30, 60, 90 kids. See that one post every single day.
You know what I'm saying?
You know?
And just because they not following, just because they not liking, does not mean that I'm not impacting them.
Exactly.
You know
that
what I'm
makes
saying?
sense. Yeah.
So it's just like that right there was a learning lesson, and that's just something I needed to learn. You feel me? So I didn't hold myself like on some like you know what I'm saying. It was just like all right, bet, like moving forward, be consistent.
Right.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's really dope right there. But I like which piece of content could you remember that like damn, like I'm really impacting lives, or like, you know, one piece of your content that just went viral and you feel like I just went out and I'm kind of like in a lot of faces now, you know, like what piece of content was that?
That's a good question. I would say, that's a good question. All right, this is gonna be a little bit different, but I wouldn't necessarily say content wise. I was doing this workshop, and all right, so little backstory. I used to live in a domestic violence shelter with my mom when like I was really 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 young, right? And now I go back to that domestic violence shelter and I do like different workshop and classes, fundraise, all types of stuff with them. And maybe a couple of months ago, I was there and I did a class with them called Unlocking Your Financial Trauma. That right there was like a full circle moment for me. Like just the testimonials that I was getting from them and the fact that like the next time I went, they came back for more information because they were so hungry. That right there was way more impactful than any amount of like content blowing up or whatever. Or one time I walked into a school and this kid goes, "Oh my God, it's Aaliyah." And like I almost started crying. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, it's me. Like, I'm just like, hello.
How you
like,
doing?
and like that was crazy to me. Or like this one kid was like, "Yo, I only came to school today because I knew you was coming." And I'm like stuff like that really is just like that confirmation that I just cannot stop. Like that is the stuff that warms my heart because I think of my younger self and like what I needed, what I would have wanted. And for me to be that person for somebody else or for another young kid, I feel like I'm saving lives. Like,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Or like one content that did go viral a little bit was when I was at a school and this kid's going back and forth with me about explaining why like gangs are important and what it means to be like the king of the block and all this type of stuff. And I was basically explaining to him like the most gangster thing you could ever do in life is actually provide for your family, show up for yourself, and do things legally. That's the most gangster thing that you can do because all the shortcuts, right, lead you in jail or dead. You know what I'm saying? And none of that's not gangster. Neither one of those is the gangster. You know what I'm saying? So me breaking that down to him was a moment for him because he didn't know otherwise. He's trained to think like that. That's why he was defending that point so much. Like he like, nah, like you gotta be the best on the block, blah blah blah. And I'm like, you don't own the block.
Yeah.
All you do is pay rent. All you do is pay rent and have people who may be scared of you or people who aspire to be like you because you're pretending to be something that you're not. You're wearing clothes that you don't own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then when
you driving cars, driving cars that you don't own. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, is that gangster? Like, you know what I'm saying? So
nah, I see where you're coming from. Like, how important is it for you to like impact the younger generation? Because, like you said, like, you know, growing up in New York, like we all idolize the wrong things. Like growing up, like I'm not even gonna lie, I probably wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to be, you know, nowadays not all the kids want to be drill rappers. They want to be gangbangers.
Facts.
You know, but you know, you out here, you spreading financial education. How do you make it cool for them? Like, how do you make it so cool for them to want to learn? Because some people, they might be like, nah, that's kind of lame, especially at a young age.
So,
and then hold on to add on to that, like, and now you're in the schools too. You know what I mean? So like, you could like add on to that part, like, you know, you being in schools, like, what makes you continue doing those things?
So when I go to schools, because I feel like a lot of times, like, yeah, we can post content. Yeah, we can be on TikTok. Yeah, we can be on Instagram. Yeah, we can be on YouTube. But nothing is like being in front of these kids, in their faces. Yeah, I can host masterminds and all these different things. They're not paying for it. They don't know the value in it. Their parents are not paying for it. The parents don't have money. They don't know the value of it, right? So if I could meet them where they are, which is at school, because most kids are going to go to school, right? And I could meet them there. Now I can plant seeds in them so that like the tree can start growing on its own. And then when I'm not there, they can make wise decisions. Yeah. That's the whole goal. My goal is to plant seeds into every single classroom that I go into. And I already know the statistics says that I'm not going to be able to touch every single kid, but at least if I touch somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, I also think about like when I was younger, or like, you know, I was in school, they would have people come in and it's just like, those people were so unrelatable. It's like you had Jake and Josh from freaking Chase coming in, who is a 40-year-old white man who's telling me about how he works at a bank and how he's a teller. Yeah, that's cool, but I don't know you. You don't look like me. You look like somebody who's oppressing me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't look like, how can I see myself in you? How do I know I can become a bank teller when you like we don't identify?
It's not,
You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
just like me growing up seeing that and feeling that way is like I want to be that person that I would have wanted when I was young, you know? So that's what I try to be. And but while still being myself, you know what I'm saying? So I come in, I'm from Brooklyn, so I'm able to easily relate. I speak their language. I understand the terms. I understand the words, right? I'm coming in wearing my sweatsuits, right? I'm not showing up in a suit, right? If I got to put it on one time, I may do what I have to do, you feel me? But at the end of the day, I'm coming in and showing up as myself and also showing y'all, like, I'm a product of this environment too, but I made a choice. You know what I'm saying? I made a choice. And I also feel like too, because I was so blessed to grow up in like a household that I did, have the parents that I have, it's also my job to pour into people who may have not had the same experience growing up that I did. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And not saying that everything was perfect for me, but if you compare it, put my plate against somebody else's plate, I would say I was dealt good cards. But you know what I'm saying? So it's just like I also feel like I'm not obligated, but kind of obligated in a way to share some of my resources with other people because God has given me so much. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like if I have these resources and I was dealt these stack of cards, why not go lend some to other people? Why not go help somebody else? Why not go help somebody who may be in a different type of situation and let them know that, yo, this is possible. This is possible. You can do this. You could put, like, even when we was talking in the car, I'm telling you, like, yo, sign up for this, get that. You know what I'm saying? Things be quick, like a click of a button, you can make something shake. Right? So that's really, like, just my thing. Like, kids are like, oh, I want to start a clothing brand. All right, go to the city. Y'all got a Metro card. Take your school Metro card. Go with a group of friends. Go to the city. For $15, you could go make a shirt. Go make a shirt. Bring it to school. Wear it. Tell your classmates. You know what I'm saying? Like,
or you can even sell it too.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Go on Canva. Make a mock-up real quick. Make the design. Do this. You know what I'm saying? These are things that I'm teaching them that, like, yo, you can do this right now. You don't got to wait for nobody. Don't wait for your mom, your dad to believe in you. Believe in yourself, right? I believe in you, right? Like, send it to me when you're done. Let me, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, like, being that person that somebody may need, you know, to really just, like, push them, inspire them, like, make more of me. People are better than me, you know?
Who is that person for you, though?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Who's that person for you? I feel like we all got that one person. Like me, who struck off this, like who ripped off the cake for me was like when I was in like MLMs and I seen a dude, young guy, they having like 20, 22, 23. I'm like, oh yeah, I want that. Like who is that for you personally?
I don't think it's like one particular person. I think it's a group of people. I'm really, really like inspired by Earn Your Leisure. I would say like really like they inspired me so much, like so much, like to the point where I had to stop watching them for a minute. like I had to stop watching them because I'm like, yo,
shout out to
I'm just so inspired by them. You know, I think like they let me know that it was possible. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, okay, they're a little older, but I'm like, if I can do what they're doing for my generation. And one time I had went to like some thing that they did where they were speaking, and he was like, people come up to us all the time and ask like, how can we collab? How can I get my business to work with you? He was like, stop waiting for us. Go make your business shake. Go do something with your business. And once I heard that, because at first I really wanted to work with them, work for them or whatever, be under their wing. And then once I heard that, I'm like, yeah, why can't I just watch them, take their advice, do all the good things that they're doing, put my spin onto it, make it happen for Gen Z, and do it that way? Why do I have to wait for them? Right? Why can't I just become so valuable to the point where like they reaching out to me? Right. So like once I hit that epiphany, that right there was like, I bet. And I'll also say like my dad too. Like my dad is like my backbone, who I call for like business or just different ideas, different things like that. Like I have different people that I just kind of like spin off of. Like, yo, does this sound good? Does it sound good? And then I'll also say myself, like deep down, like I just believe in myself. Like
that's dope.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you said Earn Your Leisure. I do agree with you because they definitely set the bar. Like they set the bar high. Like
high.
I was watching them
inspired us to do.
I was watching them a year or two ago, and I was at GoatCon, and they was walking around regular people. Like, you know, they came, you know, they had the Timbs on, just regular. Yeah. And I was I knew they was going to come up. So when I seen them, you know, I said, what up, took a pic. 2 years later, they just sold out in Atlanta, Georgia, at InvestFest, 20,000 people.
No, like they.
So I'm like,
they out of control.
yeah, they out of control.
Like,
but how did you end up? Like, how did you meet them? How did you show them that what you was cooking up?
Yeah, how'd you connect with them?
So I would say every single event that I knew they was. Well, I'm gonna be honest. The first time I ever met them in person was actually in Miami. I was on Miami out with my friends, having a ball, having a good time. I'm on Instagram. Of course, I'm following them. I see that they're gonna be in Miami. I'm like, yo, earn your lead. And mind you, this is when I'm still in college. I was probably 18 at the time. And I'm like, yo, the guys are going to be here. I'm like, I'm not going to lie, y'all. I got to leave y'all. I'm going. My friends was going out to eat, to the strip and all that. I was like, y'all go without me. Like, I'm going to see Earn Your Leisure. And they were actually going to be at, like, some gym doing, like, a boxing match. I ain't know nobody, but I just went. It was, like, 20 minutes away from me. I went, took an Uber. That was my first time meeting them. And this was, like, they was big at the time, but they weren't as big as right now. Like, they probably had, like, a little bit under 100K followers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they weren't as hot as they are right now. So I met them there first time. Then any events that they were doing in Brooklyn, I always showed up, paid, free, whatever. I always showed up. When they went to Madison Square Garden, I was there. I went to them last year around this time. I went to London for InvestFest. Like, anywhere they go, like, I was there. Wow. I was like consistent, always talking to them, saying who I was, like, to the point where, like, they know my face, they know my name, whatever. Then also Michael, right? I got cool with Michael, like, met him, introduced, like, I speak to everybody, like, type of thing. And then I got the opportunity, so I met E.T., right?
Oh, yeah. That was on my list to talk about. I'm yo, how you connect with EYL? Yes. How you like, yeah.
So I met ET at event. So I was a student government association vice president at my college, and we had to go to, like, this leadership conference. ET was the speaker at the conference. I was hype about that. I was able to sit in the front, and ET had asked one of us to come up and answer this question. So I raised my hand, of course, and he said something along the lines of, like, who's one person that's not a rapper that you're inspired by? Something like that. Or he said, is a rapper something? And I got up there and I said, well, these people are not a rapper, but I'm most inspired by Earn Your Leisure. I didn't know that was going to turn into E.T. saying, all right, I love your answer. Those are my guys. He was like, I actually have an interview with them coming up in 2 weeks. He was like, I'm going to make sure I fly you out and take you to that interview. And he did just that. Put me in a 5-star hotel. That was the first time I was ever in a 5-star hotel. Like, I got to, like, what y'all seeing right now, I was in their crib seeing this, like, seeing how everything's set up, seeing, like, where the episodes are actually filmed, and I'm just, like, I was mind blown. Like, that, that's when I started my podcast, too. Like, my mind was, like, open so much by that one experience. I was like, yo, if I keep at this stuff, if, like, I show up for myself, if I connect with the right people, if I keep, like, having my face becoming familiar, like, I'm gonna be doing the right things. Like, kudos to, like, I'm always thankful to ET for that. Always thankful to Earn Your Leisure for letting me in their home. Like, that was, like, mind opening to me. Like,
wow,
and that's crazy. So that remind me of what Jay said: closed mouths don't get fed. So the fact you was able to even say that, and it led to all of that happening. It's like, damn.
Yep, and I feel like it was just alignment too. Like, sometimes that, like I said, like, I'm not a godly or religious person, but sometimes I just think, like, some things just be God. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that was just God. Like, that was just like who knew that? Like, me, like, I'm just casually speaking. Like, I like Earn Your Leisure, so I'm like, those are my guys. I'm like, just casually speaking. I didn't know that I was gonna lead into that, lead into this, lead into, like, you know what I'm saying? It led into so much stuff. So.
Wow. So can you talk about, like, how did that turn you up, like, in your business, and how did that, because I know you was on stage with at InvestFest.
Yes.
You was definitely a speaker.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that for sure, because I'm definitely interested in that.
So also last year, there was an application, right, to become a McDonald's Black and Positively Golden Change Leader. That was on my list too. Right.
Got everything. It's right? Flowing.
So, become a McDonald's Black Positive Golden Change Leader. So I applied for that, and I actually ended up getting it. And with that, the goal with that is to expose all change leaders to, like, different things that are going to expose their platform. So they take you to different events. One event is like, something that's solely connected to whatever you do. And my event ended up being InvestFest. And again, like, backstory to backstory to that, like, that was God again, because the original event that they had planned for me to go was CultureCon, right? Y'all know about CultureCon in LA, the one in LA. And I was in Africa at the time when the other Change Leaders was going, so I couldn't go. So they were like, dang, where are we going to take Aaliyah? Where are we going to take Aaliyah? And I pitched to them, I'm like, InvestFest is coming up. I was already going to go, but I'm like, InvestFest is coming up. Like, I would love if y'all can sponsor me going to InvestFest and blah, blah, blah. And, like, they're supposed to give, like, every Change Leader, like, a spotlight or whatever or whatnot. And it worked out in my favor where I was able to go to InvestFest and actually be a speaker and different things like that. So again, like, just like alignment, like,
Damn,
yeah, that got me hyped.
That's how that happened.
Sheesh. Yep. Damn. Wow.
Yep.
Damn.
That's crazy. And you mentioned Africa. How was that? How was that trip?
That was great. So that was actually an opportunity that my best friend and I, shout out to Yanaya, that we were able to create. So she was the president of the school at the time, student government, and I was the vice president. And she was like, Aaliyah, like, what's one thing that we can do to leave our legacy? I just left a fellowship that was in Ghana, and I was like, if we can take a group of kids from Virginia State to Ghana and create an annual like trip around that where they're learning their roots, because there's a lot of like history between African Americans and Ghana and different things like that with the slave trade. So if you can take a group of kids to learn their history, go to Africa, and have it paid, that right there is legendary. That's a legacy. Yeah. So like, we put together like a little pitch deck. We were consistent with it. We told the president of the school, we said we need to get this done. Like, this is going to be dope. This is going to make the school look great. This is going to impact the kids. This is unheard of. And we were actually able to make it happen. And it came full circle. So we got to go on the first fellowship. And that was like 21 of us. So it was like 6 faculty members, which is like the teachers and stuff, and 14 students that were able to go to Ghana, Africa.
That is
like,
dope.
It was like 6 days, I think, 6-7 days.
That's good. And that connects to your brand overall, because now you literally creating a financial revolution, because now you giving exposure to college students. You're going back into the high schools. You're giving them education. You're giving them hope. You're giving them that experience. Because most times, like, it's really about your level of exposure. Mm-hmm. Like, for me personally, like, I love to get in certain rooms. I love to meet certain people. I like to see how other people's living, because now it shows me that it's possible, So now when I know that it's possible, it's easy. And now guess what? Your school that you just graduated from, they're gonna be doing an annual event because of a simple conversation y'all was having. Exactly. Like, yo, we should go to Ghana.
Exactly.
Now that's a financial
Appreciate you.
Now, for a fact, that's really a financial revolution. You mentioned pitch a couple times. Mm-hmm. So like, how do you prepare to get, those big name people, or whoever you want them to see your vision? Like, how do you prepare for that? Because pitching it's not an easy thing. It's
definitely not easy. What I would say, I did also, while I was in school, apply to be a part of this program called like Black Girl Ventures, right? So anybody listening, look them up, Black Girl Ventures, right? And what they do is they provide funding, resources, and education to Black women-owned businesses, right? And the program that I was a part of was specifically for HBCU students. And with that program, they gave you $5,000. They gave you like Uber Eats, right? And it was also, most importantly, an education. Right, so they taught you how to create a pitch deck, how to pitch a business, how to get grants, how to get funding for your business. Wow. That right there was like one of the most important and pivotal experiences that I had, because I didn't know what a pitch deck was. I didn't know how to ask for money. I didn't know none of these things. So me just learning that simple thing, I was like, oh shoot, okay, this is how you ask for money. Like, this is what you gotta create, right? You can send pitch decks to companies. You can go to their marketing team. And I will also say shout out to my mentors, Cal and Chris, right? I hope they can see this part, right? They helped me with my pitch deck as well. Like, they pitch to companies to get companies to fund their businesses or whatever they have going on. And like, they will help perfect my pitch decks and make sure that I'm prepared for like my certain pitches and stuff like that, and tell me like what I need to add, or just give me advice. So that right there, like, let me know, okay, this is how I do it. And then also you just learn from experience, right? You just simply learn from experience. Like, I didn't win the Black Girl Venture pitch competition, but I won Revolt's pitch competition just because of what I learned in Black Girl Ventures, right? So you never know how, like, things that you're learning at one time, just because you didn't take, you know, something away from it directly then and there, doesn't mean it's not going to contribute to your life in the future. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, once I knew about the Revolt podcast pitch competition, I already knew what I needed in my pitch deck. I already knew, like, all right, this is how I tell a story. If I'm asking Walmart for money, I already know how to go to Walmart and ask for money. I already know to make sure I put what's in it for Walmart. I already know to put, like, tell a story. I already know to ask questions. I already know to be engaging. I already know to add my personality. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, just doing things like that. That's what creates like a really good pitch, a really good pitch deck. And also knowing that you don't have too much time as well, right? So you have like a certain amount of time to really get a certain amount of information out and just sell yourself or sell your idea to people. And also just, I guess the key thing is to figure out what makes you stand out.
Yeah.
So if there's any piece of advice that I give anybody, always figure out what's your value proposition, right? So that's basically just figuring out what can you contribute, what sets you apart, what is your, like, it's with any financial company. It's like, okay, if I'm going to invest in this company, I want to know what's that company's moat, right? That just basically is what's their competitive advantage. My value proposition, my moat, my competitive advantage is that I'm young. You know what I'm saying? So me being young, me being hip, me being on game, I'm able to access an audience that a lot of people can't tap in with. You know what I'm saying? Where a lot of people is trying to figure out, how do we deal with Gen Z? How do we give information to Gen Z? How do we feed information to them? Because we're so just like on to the next thing so quick, right? So I am Gen Z. You know what I'm saying? So my audience is Gen Z.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like that is my value proposition. So this next wave, this next generation of like all these people who are going to become the next people, I have to get them tapped in with me. So that's my value proposition, right? So
shit. So when it's time for me to collect capital, I'm coming to you to prepare for my pitch.
We gotta make something happen.
Shit.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure. And then I like just talk about the Revolt, like that experience, like outside, like, 'cause I know you talk about the, you know, what you gave them, some of the, you know, I guess courtesy or I guess gift bag. But outside of that, like talk about that experience. Like, what was that about? Like with the Revolt World, how did that turn you up? Like, how did it help your business grow?
So that definitely helped me because the way it worked was it was a live podcast pitch competition. Okay. So you had to send in an initial pitch deck, right? And again, that's where McDonald's helped out as well, because McDonald's is connected with Revolt. So I made sure that somebody from a McDonald's team is able to text them and say like, hey, one of the change leaders sent in a pitch deck, just make sure you review it. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure that like my stuff gets in, right? And with that, it was like you had to become a finalist. So I think like over 100 people applied, they said. And like out of the 100 people, 5 of us got picked. So the 5 that got picked, we were able to go on the stage during Revolt World was like 3 days. So on that Saturday, we were able to go on the stage and actually pitch like that day, right? Live in front of like a whole audience and everything. It was like on a stage in one of their like rooms. And with that, there was a live audience. So while I am pitching to the judges, I'm also pitching to the audience, because these are a whole new set of people who are learning about me and who I am. So I was talking to a little bit of both of them at the same time. And it got to the point where like it was like an audience, it was an audience competition as well. So the audience actually had a vote choice. And I won the audience vote too, because like I made sure I entertained them. I made sure I asked questions. I made sure I kept them involved. Like these are all the different things that I was thinking about before I did my pitch to make sure that like I set myself apart. And I would keep it a buck. I didn't really practice. I did like everything the night before. I'm not gonna lie. Jeez. I'm not gonna lie. But the day of, I knew it was time to lock in. Like I didn't go out the night before, none of that. I locked the heck in. I was like, all right, today is business. I'm staying on business. This is not no little opportunity. Like,
It's
I treat
not.
everything like a big opportunity. And I was just kind of practicing to myself, figuring out the few words I want to say, make sure I want to say, and then like maybe an hour before I was like, all right, not practicing no more. Whatever happens up there is what happens up there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just go up there and lay it out. And time went quick too. Like time went quick. And I had 5 minutes. You literally had 5 minutes to pitch. You couldn't go over the 5 minutes or under, because then you'll get timed or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just went up there and did it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was confident. Like I'm not going to cap. I was nervous a little bit before, but I don't like to like register that I'm nervous, because that makes you a little bit more
Yeah, I
nervous.
feel like,
You know what
when
I'm
you
saying?
make it obvious, like,
Yeah.
yo, all right, cool, yo,
Yeah,
I'm
like-
nervous, y'all.
Yeah, like I'm
And it's
shaking,
like, oh,
but like
shit, I'm really nervous.
like you can't, like I was there like, oh shoot, like it's 5:55, like it was
Yeah.
at 6:00.
Yeah.
So, and I was the first one too. I was the first person to go.
Oh,
So, but it helped me though, because
Yeah.
I feel like when you're the first person, it's kind of like you go, and then after that it's clip. Like you can't change nothing. You know what I'm saying? Versus if I was like third or last,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about everything everybody else said and trying to like compare myself to those people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
right.
So it was actually like a blessing that I went first. And I just went out there and I was just spoke to the audience, spoke to the judges, and put it on the table. And
Wow.
I won the audience vote. And then it was time for them to say like who won actually. And then like it was people in the audience that was like, Young and Dumb Show won. And like afterwards I did take home the win, and like people were coming up to me the whole entire time
That's
during
fire.
Revolt World, and like just stopping me and saying like, you're dope, you're this, you're that, like getting more followers. I actually like somebody is trying to fly me out to like upstate New York to come speak to kids there. So you never know like the
Yeah.
opportunities that will come from you just trying. Like even if I didn't win, I still got exposure, to people in the audience, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. So with all this experience that you get, and especially you're pretty young, so like with all this experience that you get in, you're going to Revolt World, you're talking at Invest Fest. Where do you see yourself in 5 years at this growth rate?
For real,
nah,
for real.
I see myself. Now I'm not gonna lie. I see myself like Ernie Leisure. Like I'm not gonna lie. I see it. Like I see it. Like if I keep showing up for myself, like having a curriculum in schools, having major impact, being able to travel, having real estate investments, speaking all over the place. Like I see myself like really being that person. Like I was just at a concert the other day, and I saw how happy like everybody got when like one of the hosts came out. It was like Lance. What's his name? Lance Gross.
Lance, yeah,
Lance Gross.
Yeah.
Right, from like Tyler Perry shows. I saw how
Right.
happy everybody got when he came out, right? And yeah, he looked good, right? That's why they was probably happy. But I was also like, if I can get a crowd of people to get this same, like almost like Ernie Leisure, like how they had 20,000 plus
Worldwide.
people, right? Plus people screaming their name happy, and it's not even just about me. It's about like the cause, the impact. If I can do that for our generation, that's what I see. That's what I see.
Damn.
That's what I see. But it's not even about me. It's more about like if I could put people on, if I could set like, you know what I'm saying, how we was talking about collaborating. If like we can make something like that happen, like just think about that. Just like,
Nah, I'm excited to sit in this chair. Like I'm like, shit. Imagine her 2 years from now.
Yeah,
You know what I
even 2
mean?
years
Like,
from now.
whew, like that's crazy. Like real crazy. And sometimes you gotta have that vision. And then not only just having that vision, but surrounding yourself around like people that believe you. Like
Facts.
for example,
Facts.
like us, like me and I talk on the phone almost all the time, and we on the phone for like sometimes minimum an hour.
no,
you know?
literally,
Yeah.
literally.
We'll be talking about the same thing
They- every
over
day.
and over,
Every day. Me and my friend do the
over
same
and
thing.
over and
Yes.
over.
Nah,
And it's
Yeah.
like, yo, we just say to ourselves, yo, we gotta be consistent. We gotta keep showing up. As long as we keep showing up, we gonna keep getting better. Like if y'all don't know today, like this is our first time being our own producer. You know what I mean?
Facts,
Like,
but you
Yep.
learning though.
Exactly,
You learning. Because
you
a year
know?
from now, you're going to have this simultaneously going on. Like,
Like
it's going to
this.
be easy, like
Yep.
clockwork. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
yeah, that's crazy.
Nah, but that's how you know you're on the right track. Like once you stop talking about the nonsense, like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
gonna talk about nonsense. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. But when it's 20% nonsense, but 80% like productivity,
Exactly.
having like productive conversations, having like 19 keys, call it high level conversations about growth, the future, and not just talking, but also actively working towards it. It's already written that like you're going to get results. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But most people aren't disciplined enough to really lock in and get the results that they want. And that's the conversation that I had to have with myself on some, like, lock the heck in. Like, get what you want. Like, it's out there. Go get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like,
that's a fact.
So I got a question. This is what we were talking about a little bit earlier, but how do people get into these schools? You know, so that way, you know, like they can start teaching their curriculums, they can start making money in the schools because they have budgets, you know, dedicated towards this kind of stuff, but we're not too much aware of it. Like, what are some of those steps that people could follow to actually get inside the schools, you know, and have an impact, just like yourself?
So one I would say is you have to be, so speaking for New York City, you have to become a DOE vendor, right? So that basically stands for Department of Education vendor, right? So what that does is that allows you and your business to come into a school and provide a product or service for that school. And every school has a certain amount of money that needs to be allocated to certain things, whether that's books for kids, that's classroom material, that's the smart board, that's the food for the school lunch, like whatever it is, every school has a certain budget, right? So now it's making your product or service so valuable or whatever it is that, like, a school says, you know what, I want to allocate my money to buy your product or service. And now you get into a contract with that school if it's whether you're providing, like for me, I provide financial literacy workshops and books, right? So that is, all right, a school may buy 200 books, right? And I give the books to the students. And then also a part of that, I am providing workshops and they pay me for each workshop, right? And that could be a weekly session. That could be one-offs. That could be, you know what I'm saying? So it's like tailor it to however your curriculum or whatever works. And the way to do that is, for me, I had an actual assistant principal put me in the system, but I'm pretty sure there's another way that you could go about it. So you want to reach out to the vendor hotline. So all you have to do is Google NYC DOE vendor hotline and just call them up and be like, hey, I want to become a vendor. I have this product or service or whatever. What's the process of doing so? Okay. And they will walk you through that process. And then you want to create, like I was telling you earlier, a PIP account, PIP, right? That stands for Payment Information Portal. That right there is your portal where you get paid. Now you're a New York City vendor, right? So that's how you get paid through your government contracts or whatever in New York City, right? So that's where all your money and stuff is funneled, right? So you do those two things first, and then, like, you'll get somewhere. But now to actually get into the schools, like, I would say some of it is word of mouth, where it's like, I know a couple of teachers or I know people who work in a school and they're like, hey, like, I want you to come to my school, whatever, right? That's the easy part. Now the hard part is getting the schools that you don't know, right? So I straight up show up to the schools. I'll walk in and say, hey, can I speak to a principal, assistant principal, whatever, parent coordinator? I leave a card. I get the email. I ask them, when should I follow up? When can I come again? Can we schedule a formal meeting? Whatever, just so I could pitch my actual business to them and my product or service and what I have to offer. And I show them how, like, what I have is valuable, and most schools don't have financial literacy already. Another way too that I'm learning about is also partnering with CBOs. So CBO stands for community-based organizations, right? So if you look up NYC CBOs like Canva or like New York Edge, or like, you know what I'm saying? These are programs that are in a lot of schools, and schools are in contracts with those programs to provide programming, after-school programs, services, different things like that. So if you can get partnered with like a CBO, right now a CBO has you as a subcontractor to come into the school and provide services. And it's a little, I wouldn't say easier yet because I'm still testing it out to see how it works, but it seems like it may be a little easier doing it that way because the way CBOs work, they're in multiple schools. So instead of you going to like each individual school, a CBO will assign you and say, you know what, I want you in this school, that school, like all those different schools that they're partnering with. So those are like a couple of different ways that I've been doing it. And I'm pretty sure there's more. I'm not saying those are like the only ways, but that's just the ways I've been doing it. And like, I'm learning like as I go, like I'm literally learning. There's some school who was like, I need this document from you. I need that. And I'm just learning as I'm going.
What's some of those documents you say?
You definitely need a W-9, right?
Uh-huh.
Some schools they need a W-9 form to like when you're working with CBOs, they need a W-9 form to like pay you accordingly. You need a sometimes you need a sole vendor document. So what that basically means is it's just like a letter saying that you are the only person that is authorized to sell that product or service.
Okay.
Right? So for example, my book, I created my book. Nobody else has my book. It's not on Amazon. It's on my website. I control it. So I am the sole vendor of that book. They can't get it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a document saying that. You know what I'm saying? What else? Like a work order form, right? So I needed to send in like a form to one of the schools. It's basically like a long contract saying like this is the product and services that I'm going to provide for this time period, and this is the school's responsibilities providing the students and whatnot, blah blah blah. This is how much it's going to cost. The contract goes into effect this date, and like the principal has to sign it, and then I have to sign it.
Oh, okay.
Right. So those are like some of the different documents that I didn't know about. That you just learn as you go.
Right.
That makes sense. Like now, I'm thinking about the name of your brand, Financial Revolution. That's really how you start a revolution. You got to start with the kids. You got to start getting into the schools. But I got a question for you. So, how do you feel? What's your theory behind there being a lack of financial education in schools? Like, do you feel like it's a reason behind that?
Of course.
What you think?
Of course. Their oppressor is never going to give you enough food to eat because then they can never eat off of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, but y'all get what I'm saying. They will never teach us the information that we need to know because then they won't be able to take advantage of us.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. The moment we get access to the same information, the same resources, the same mental health professionals, the same amount of money, you know what I'm saying? That's the moment they can't because they just look at what we do with the little we have.
Yeah.
Look at the change that we make with the little we have. Look at what we're doing in our communities when we start these different businesses. Imagine if we had access to the same resources and education. It would be over. They will be done for.
That's so true.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like they can't give us it because they're scared of what we will become. We're superior.
Yeah.
And they manipulate us to think that they are better. We desire to have what they have. We desire to live lives like them. We desire to we're controlled. You know what I'm saying? Like slavery is no longer shackles and chains besides jail or whatever, but now it is mental slavery. Yep. People always ask me, dang, what do you think we would do right now if like we were like I was just talking to my friend the other day. He's like, what do you think we'd do if we were slaves right now? I'm like, we are. What are you doing? Nothing.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so true.
So it's like the slavery is different. The slavery is mental. Like we're digital slaves, especially with this whole AI stuff, right? Like it's controlling, it's manipulation, and they got us so bad and at so many different angles to the way where it's hard to solve. Because now it's like, all right, I may have money now, but now I got mental issues, or I have generational trauma from, maybe my dad left me, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have all these other issues. Maybe I make poor financial decisions because I saw my parents making poor financial decisions. So even if Aaliyah comes in the classroom, it's hard for me to learn from Aaliyah because I go back home to that same parent. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like, maybe I want to have access to this information, but I can't pay to get access to this information. Like, it's so much issues that we have. So like, yes, to answer your question simply, there is a reason why we don't learn financial literacy. There is a reason why we learn the stupidity, not to call it stupidity, but there is a reason why we learn the nonsense that we're learning in school. And I always tell my students, I say, I'm not here for the school stuff, but school is going to teach you the fundamentals. So take what you can. Learn how to read, learn how to write, whatever. But use those fundamentals to really go get the information that you need, right? Self-education is the most important form of education you'll ever get. Yeah. The stuff I know, I didn't learn it through school. I learned it through experiences, exposure, reading, watching YouTube videos, and really just controlling the content that I let enter my brain. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like, school, they're never going to come save us. They're never, ever going to come save us, ever. Why would they do that? Like, it doesn't help. It doesn't help them.
Now
You know what I'm saying?
That's really true. Cause like even thinking now, like I remember I used to really beat myself down like about like algebra and like stuff like that. Cause I was like, yo, it used to take me a while to really get it. But I'm a whole adult now, and I don't even use that on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly, bro.
So
Exactly.
Chemistry.
all that stuff that I was stressing about at a young age is
Exactly.
like you don't use it on a day-to-day basis. But like, let's say when you really hit adulthood and them bills come, it's just about understanding basic
math, like
math.
like basic, like just basic stuff.
But now credit, like a lot of people, they start screwing up, like early 20s, teenage years. Now it's like you ain't learned credit when you was young.
Exactly.
So now you messed up your credit. Now you in your whole 20s trying to fix it.
Exactly.
And then it's like a downward spiral from there, and it's crazy.
Think
crazy.
Think about it. Why are all the key things that I need to know about life I don't learn in school if I spend almost 16 to 20 years in school? Think about it. The average person spends at least 16 to 20 years in school. The average person. So why am I not learning about finance, but I use money every day? I need money for everything that I need. Why am I not learning about nutrition if I need to eat healthy to survive?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not learning about mental health if I need to have a right mind to think? Why am I not, like, you know what I'm saying? Why am I not learning about politics, right? If I need to put politicians in office to get certain things shaken. Like, why am I not learning about these things if these are the things that are controlling the world?
Yeah.
Man,
especially
this could really get deep, but you know what I mean? But I really understand where you coming from, and that's the reason why everybody, like, you really got to stay conscious and aware of these things to really like see what's going on for what it is.
Exactly.
They
put it in our face. That's the thing. They put it in our face, and it's so easy. And that's, I feel like that's how they get us. Like, because it's in our face, sometimes we just walk right past it.
Right.
It's almost like when you're looking for something and you like, it's probably dead right in front of me, right?
Right.
But you don't see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, we're controlled. So
and to add on to that too, I was watching a podcast the other day. I think it was with Michael McDonald from EYL.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about I think no. It was actually Mike Rashid and Jonathan Dupiton from Finesse's Only Club.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they was talking about, having kids. They're like, yo, I would not put my, like, they was like, they do background checks on you, to make sure that you are like, you're not abusing your children, but the parents don't do background checks on these teachers, or whatever. So there's like, basically, they're not putting their kids in like in any school, It's a thorough research. It's a thorough, everything, making sure, that they're learning certain things that actually has to be learned. Like, for example, like, why I was in a library the other day and this lady was telling this girl, like, you need to know about slavery. You need to know about this. I'm like, why the hell does she need to know about that? Like, that's not going to really, it's going to change. But like some of the other things that she was telling her that she needs to know, I'm like,
why? What's the point? What do I gain? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's another thing too. Like, just what we learn about in our history.
Yeah.
Like, we don't learn, like, that was another pivotal moment for me. Like, the first time I ever went to Africa, I was like 17, and that right there was that was like a mindset shift, like changer, because I was able to see something so different. I realized I was so Americanized. I was so not in tune with my roots, not in tune with my culture, and like my dad is actually from Ghana, right? But I still grew up very Americanized. So me going to Ghana, I realized like, wow. But I was still a little immature, you know what I'm saying, to really understand everything. But it was the second time I went when I was 19 that really like shifted. Like, it really had like a spiritual shift for me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why I was really adamant about like the Africa trip, because I feel like every Black person needs to go to Africa at some point, specifically West Africa, where a lot of our roots are,
Yeah.
Just to learn that history, because learn it for what it is and not from what is told, Learn it from like the real true history, not from like these theories and how they westernize it to make them seem like the white saviors and different things. Like, you have people right now who are saying that slavery was good because it gave us skills. I watched this clip and I watched this clip and he basically said that like that's almost similar to saying that, like, all right, what did he say? He said something about like, oh, that's like saying that you got raped, but at least like
Exactly. I was thinking that same situation. I'm like, that don't
what
make
did he
sense.
say? Dang, I forgot what he's saying, but that's just crazy. Like
Crazy.
slavery. So I had to be a slave to learn a skill. I couldn't learn a skill as a free person. I couldn't learn a skill by you just teaching me something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, all right, like that's what you trying to tell us now. That's what y'all trying to do. That's like, you know what I'm saying? We are under attack. We have to really open up our mind, and it has to be in numbers. Like, we have to wake up in numbers. Like, it can't just be me. It can't just be y'all. It has to be like the masses of us have to wake up. Like, y'all watched They Clone Tyrone?
Oh yeah,
They Clone Tyrone.
I saw that.
You gotta watch that, bro. That's
Is
your
that a
homework.
movie?
You gotta
watch it.
You
You
go
gotta
home and
watch
watch
it,
that,
What's the
bro.
name of it?
They Clone Tyrone.
They Clone?
Yes.
Clone Tyrone.
They Clone.
Watch it, bro.
You gotta watch that, bro.
What it's about though?
Bro.
You'll see.
Like, I can't.
No spoilers.
Yeah, like
Spoilers,
it's
got a
a
message.
It's
got a
a
message.
great thing. Then we can't even talk about it. You ain't watch it, bro.
Alright, so I'm gonna watch it, y'all.
Nah, but yeah, Africa is definitely on my list. Like, you know, I'm from an African like household, you know,
Where you
but Nigerian.
Oh yeah. We can
Yeah.
talk about it, yeah.
So, you know, growing up, like you said, they kind of brainwashed us into thinking about Africa as a negative thing. So I had my own Black African American people making fun of me for being African.
Yes.
So that, you know, but now I'm thinking back now and I'm like, damn, they don't even know where they came from. You know, that it's really the roots. So some of them need to go to Africa and really tap into, like, really see what's going on.
Yep.
You know, because America is cool, but, you know, when you really, I feel like when you touch that motherland, like it'll be different.
Feeling. It's a different feeling.
It'll be different. And to get back to the school topic, like, how do you feel about the, like, Florida? Like, they said they was going to erase like, they was going to erase Black history.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, I think I heard about that.
That's
like
crazy.
We're under attack. They're doing that on purpose because a person who doesn't know who they are, where they come from, they don't know where they're going. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are trying to erase, like, our history. They're trying to take our identity away so that we don't know who we are. We don't have anything to relate to. We don't understand our Blackness. Yep. It's almost like, remember, like, when we were younger, it was a trend, like African booty scratcher.
Yeah.
It was like all these funny things that you were saying
about
African people. Like, you know, you're this, you're African ill. Like, you're that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now it's cool.
Now it's cool.
Now it's cool. Now it's like, oh, I'm from Africa. I'm from this. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
And these are things that people were learning in their household. And these are things that were just kind of being passed around, picked up. And that's simple just because of ignorance.
Yeah.
It's just straight ignorance.
Yeah.
That's literally ignorance. But once we know, like, once we in tune and tapped in with our African roots and just, like, in tune with our Blackness in ourselves, we will start to soar and to flower because now I identify with who I am. I'm not trying to be like John. I'm not trying to be like whatever these people, like Franklin or whatever. Yeah, I'm trying to be like Samantha. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be like myself. You know what I'm saying? So I think, like, they're trying to erase our history, our culture, take our books, take anything that makes sense, take anything that identify with us. And also, they're trying to erase what they did too.
Yeah.
That's a large part of it too. They want white saviorship. They want it to seem like they're the reason why we have any type of level of success and this and this and that, and you know what I'm saying. So they're trying to erase the fact that their ancestors had us locked up in things like that. Like, when you go to Africa and you see the slave dungeons and you see how they had them living, like, they literally had like it's like a cell, locked up cell, and they have it for a woman. They have cell, like, imagine 1,000 men on top of each other, no food, pooping, bleeding, yelling, crying, all of that on top of each other. Think about that. They and it was well thought, well crafted. Like, they had like they had sewers where, like, they'll let the blood and poop go down, right? They had the water that would come in. They had, like, somebody that would come at the top and spy on them. They'll throw food from the top, and then right above it is a church. Right above it, right above all that madness is a church where they're praising God. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So it's just like when you see that, like you can't go back and unsee that. Right? You can't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can't. Like I used to enjoy going to Paris, but it just disturbs me. Like I was in Paris at like the Palace of Versailles or whatever, and I'm just looking like these are people who like were like really like taking advantage of my ancestors and beating them and like putting them into shackles. Like, why am I here? Like, I didn't feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I don't feel comfortable wearing certain brands. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to get out of that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I be wanting to put that stuff on, but sometimes it just be like, dang, like just the thought of it, like, you know.
Nah, that's really true. It's crazy what's going on. You know, like I said, like this combo could really even get like it could really go deep because I'm even thinking back to like Africa even itself, like it's behind on like even financial education, like
behind.
So it's just like everywhere we go, they try to make black people last class citizens, and this is crazy.
Ghana got its independence 60 years ago.
It's crazy.
My grandmother is that age. Think about that. 60 years. That's like yesterday. 60 years ago, they just got their independence. Like they became free. So, and think about it, when you become free, there's still a whole bunch of things that you're dealing with afterwards. It's not like you really free. You know what I'm saying? You got to deal with the aftermath of being colonized all that time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just think about that, right? So it's like Africa itself is divided and split up and conquered and colonized and all this stuff. Then we have us, whereas like now it's a division between Africans and African Americans, right? Then you have people who are like, I'm not African, I'm just American. Like it's all this division. You have people who believe in all these different religions. So now we can't get along on that end, right? You have people who I don't like wealthy black people because they don't do this and that, right? It's just like it's all these ways that they got us and they divided us, and it's just so hard to like put the pieces back together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. It's more of like a social problem.
Yeah.
You know, like one person might be Jewish, another person, like for example, what's going on? Like I don't really watch the news like that, but like Israel and Palestine, more than likely they're arguing over something, you know, that could have been.
It's power. It's power. Egos. Is money. It's all these different things. But I mean, I would say like to actually ask a question. What do y'all feel like is like the biggest problem in the black community?
I feel like it's ignorance, in my opinion. Like, you know, I feel like we just like a lot of people is just too blind to realize like you said, like yo, they're in the they kind of like locked up mentally, like they like they got them as slaves mentally, and some people don't realize that, and you know it's a few woke like us here, like you know, a few woke people that they're aware of what's going on, and we trying to spread that information. But a lot of people are just literally like blind, like they don't see it.
It's hard,
and then the cycle just continues for generations. And it's tough. That's why I'm glad that you know we're here. We're trying to make a change.
Facts.
We're trying to move the needle forward. We're trying to close that wealth gap. So that's how I think.
For me, I think like you said, ignorance and also lack of openness. You know, like not even willing to accept certain things. You know. And then when you said woke, it kind of had me a little bit weak because, you know, like when people like, hey, queen, hey. I'd be scared of those type of people.
They just trying to embrace it. You know, they just trying to embrace the roots.
Grand Rising King.
they just trying to embrace the roots, you know.
But I think, for real, I think that's what's having us in the days. Like we prioritize the wrong things. We're not open-minded to actually, actually go out there. Some people like, oh, Black History, XYZ, Trump, this, that. But like, actually do your own research, do your own study, and don't go off of what everybody else say. Don't go off of what Facebook say. Don't go off the shade room. Don't go off of that. Do your own research and then actually find out. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's having us stuck for a very long time. And if you honestly do, like, if you look at the progress compared to like before and now, like, definitely, Black people definitely did make a whole lot of progress because now Like for example, InvestFest, 20,000 people.
Yeah, that's
I had
progress.
people coming from London. I done seen people coming from Canada,
That's
all
progress.
places.
Yeah.
You know, so I think this was definitely a great convo. We about
Yeah, for
nearly
sure.
an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, wow, for real?
Word.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
like,
about.
just for my last comment, I would just say that, like, I would say for me, I think I always felt like our biggest problem is that we don't believe in one thing.
Yeah.
We don't have one thing that we could all identify with besides the fact that we're all black.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But I feel like when we look at other races or other, I guess I would say just like religions, they all believe in one God, one thing, and that's that one thing that they listen to, and that's their centerpiece. I feel like we have too many different ideologies, which is nothing wrong with that because we need diversity.
Yeah.
But we also have to come to the point where it's just like, we're equal. I look out for you because we look like each other, and like it can't be no egos, no whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and at the end of the day, I'm not saying other races don't have problems, but I feel like at some point there's togetherness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you look at the Asian community, look at the Jewish community, there's some sense of togetherness sometimes, right? And I'm not saying, I don't know, I'm not like a historian and all that can be like in 1963 this happened. No, I can't tell you that. But what I'm just saying, when I compare like our counterparts to our culture, I just feel like just be too much going on.
Yeah.
It's too much going on. It's too much going on. You got what I'm saying? You have some people who like embrace Sexy Red. She's embracing this and bringing this. And you have some people like myself who's like, yo, like that's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's too much ideologies. Like,
That's
we
true.
need one thing that brings us all together. And it can't just be, well, I think it should be the fact that we're black. Like, we're black and we're oppressed. Let's be together on the fact that we gotta make something shake. Like,
Yeah. That's
Nah, just to chime in a little bit, I do think Sexy Red is an industry plant. Like
no,
they trying to manipulate these black girls, but that's another combo.
No,
it's another
seriously,
combo.
We could definitely talk about that.
No, seriously, I don't think she's real. I don't know. Like,
What about Sukiana?
Sukiana, who's that?
Suki.
No, who's Suki? Don't tell me it's another one. No,
it's another one. She
Nah,
went
but
to the VMAs and she was all stretched out.
No.
And she was like, "Oh,
is she the one who made the video with Sexy Red?"
I don't know, but she
think
always
so.
be sticking her tongue out and
Let me
sucking
see.
dudes' toes. I think her name
Nah.
on Instagram is Suki the Goat.
Sexy Red, the biggest
You know
one.
who Suki is?
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
her.
She was at the VMAs all stretched out. I'm like, nah, bro. Like, we gotta have at least
Oh, I
some
think I know
kind
what you're
of
talking about.
class.
And think about how much of these big corporation their money is pushing these artists.
No, but
It's
think
for a
about
reason.
it. But think about
But
it.
I think that's a bad thing because, like,
It's
they
a
make
bad
it-
thing.
They make you
But
look
it's
like
for
a
a
clown.
reason,
No,
bro.
but think
No.
about
Reason,
it though.
bro.
Think about it. I had to tell my students this. I said, put this in. Let's just put this in for what it is. You're getting paid millions of dollars to go on a beat to rap about your sex, your money, your drugs, how you killed somebody, how you may have caught a body, how you got into a car accident, like how you just a whole bunch of negativity, how you do like you're getting paid millions of dollars to talk about that, right? And what they do is, think about it, most rappers who are like the top rappers that like most of the kids aspire to be, and I'm not talking about like the independent rappers, I'm talking about like the industry plant rappers. Most of them come from like poor, sad, whatever background. So what they're doing is they're taking that other young black kid who's in the hood, who's like, you know what? Dang, if this is what Sexy Red is doing and this is what works, let me go try that. If this is what NBA Youngboy is doing and that works, let me go try that. And then they're trying to become that, and 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work for them. It's not going to work for them. It's like playing a lotto. Mm-hmm. You see people win, like you just saw somebody win $1 billion, and it sounds cool, like, oh shoot, she just got $1 billion. Let me go try that. But 9 times out of 10, you will never win.
Yep.
You will never get a shot at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you living in a cycle, and you spend your whole life trying to like do that, and it doesn't work for you. And then now you done went and told all this negativity, did all this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a cycle, and that's another rat race that they have us in too.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like at one point, every kid in the hood done try to play sports to become a rapper. I was there too. I tried both of them. You know what I'm saying? So I understand. Yeah. But it's at some point we gotta lock in and be like, this not gonna work.
Yeah.
And I find it crazy. They Popeyes went through Sexy Red a sponsor. You kind of see that. You kind of see where they going.
Bro,
through her sponsor.
Bro, watch.
She posted eating chicken and she was pregnant.
Watch.
So you seeing this?
Watch, they clone Tyrone. I ain't
yeah, you gotta watch it. You gonna get it,
bro. Eating fried chicken, I was like, I was a little skeptical. Like, you know what I'm saying? Think about it. Every hood got a Crown Fried Chicken, got a liquor store. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, got a check cash in place. Right, yeah. These are things that we gotta pay attention to. Like, when I was younger, I didn't really understand, but now that I'm getting a little older, I'm seeing things for what it is, and they got us so controlled that, like, sometimes even the information that we're doing, it goes in one ear and out the other. That's how controlled that,
it's not that
they got some of us at. Or sometimes it be to the point where it's just like, yeah, I see this is true, but what can I do? That's how people feel. What can I do?
Or you could do it, but I can't do it.
Exactly. But then it's just like, no, it's strength in numbers. If we come together and we all understand, we all under one ideology, we could probably do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I was just going to wrap up, like, closing thoughts. Like, I just wanted to know, like, what advice do you got for, like, some, like, you know, a young, let's see, like, probably, like, 12, 15, 18-year-old, somebody super young. Like, what advice you got for them? Especially about financial education, you know, and some of them that might be seeking the information, but, you know, they got that friend in that one ear telling them go this way or go like some other way. Like what would you tell them? What advice would you give to them?
I would tell you, keep it a buck. Don't care about anything else anybody got to say. Like, 9 times out of 10, I always tell people, like, we're all walking projections. We're all speaking from where we are right now in life. We're all speaking from how we feel. We're all speaking from our past experience, what we've been through. Don't care about what people have to say, right? 10 years from now, down the road, it's not going to matter what sneakers you had on.
That's
10
true.
years down the road, it's not going to matter if you went to that basketball game. 10 years down the road, it's not going to matter what girl you did whatever with. Like, it's not going to matter, right? So focus, like, you have to understand, like, what you do right now is really what's going to determine your future, right? So I would say start something. Start it alone. Start it scared. Just start, right? People are only going to respect you when you're consistent and when you show up for yourself. So just start. Like, don't be afraid. Don't look for supporters. Like, there's literally billions of people out in the world. Why are you waiting for the 5 people in your family to support you? Forget them. They're going to come around. And when they come around, let them come around and be like, you didn't want to support me before, but I got you now. It's all right. You feel me? Like, just start. Like, that's really like the key thing, and be consistent. Just because it may not work once, don't mean it's not gonna work the second time. So show up for yourself, start, and be consistent.
Okay. Do you have, like, how can people find your books? Because I know you say you sell those in school.
Oh yeah, facts. So my books are on
mentors?
my books are on my website. You go to financialrevolution.com. Financial Revolution, that's with 2 N's at the end of revolution. And yeah, and Financial Revolution on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everything.
Oh yeah, what's your Instagram?
Yeah,
you ain't telling people
yet. Financial Revolution, like, on every single thing. Yep.
Yeah. Y'all tap in. This is a great convo.
Yeah,
I feel like
this is a great convo.
And I appreciate y'all for having me. Definitely, like, this is gonna be a dope episode.
Yeah.
And shout out to y'all. Like, I love what y'all starting here, and like, y'all be consistent as well. And I feel like we go hold each other accountable. Like,
absolutely,
I got 52 episodes that I gotta do for Revolt, so we gotta hold each other accountable. Like so
that's like,
you know
a whole year of content, one a week.
Exactly. So, like, let's get them episodes going. You feel me?
Sure,
if I could do 52, y'all could do 52. We could. You feel me? So y'all got this nice studio. Take advantage of this.
We gonna pound you hard.
Like, come on.
Pound you hard. I'm telling you.
Come on. Like, this is the type of competition that we need. You know, this is the type of, like, conversations that we need, holding each other accountable. Because if I could do 52 and y'all could do 52, look at the impact we have.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, just look at that. And we all targeting, like, similar audience or whatever. You feel me?
Exactly.
So it's just like, let's make something shake, right?
Wow. That's good. That's good. But yeah, guys, definitely, we keep forgetting to say this in the beginning. Like, comment, and subscribe. We new to this YouTube stuff. It helps us to get these new guests that we're getting on the show. We starting off from ground zero, but definitely, like she said, within the next 5-10 years from now, it's definitely going to keep on growing. So the only way it's able to grow is like, comment, share, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. Drop your favorite parts down below in the comment section. Share it out with a friend. Tell them your favorite part and tell them to go to that episode. Tune in, right? Tap in, tune in. This was a great episode. We got Aaliyah on the podcast, and definitely, yes. Thank you for coming through. This is an amazing episode. For sure. And we had technical difficulties, but listen, we got the episode up and running. So definitely, thank you guys for tuning in to the end of the show and tap in for the next one.